Coming up in this episode,
Because of humor, art, and love, people generally agree that love is sacred. Is art sacred? Conversation piece. Is humor sacred? And I maintain that anything that restores energy is life. So humor is life, art is life, love is life.
you are now live from the source with Vicky and Alexander. Live your life from the source. Play your cards right.
What's your number?
Welcome to Live from the Source with Vicky and Alexander. I'm your host, Vicky.
And I'm Alexander. Oh, and it's for me to say that together we decode the ancient mystery of life hidden in plain sight in a deck of 52 playing cards. Based on our date of birth, we all have 13 cards to play that show us our human template.
And today we're so excited for our guest, Barbara Ann Michaels. Barbara is born on November 14th, and she is born to play the Six of Clubs as her birth card and the 10 of Clubs as her personality card. Welcome, Barbara.
Welcome, Barbara.
Hello. Today I am broadcasting from Brooklyn, New York, sitting inside the HumorVille installation, which is the tourist attraction for your heart. A small town for self-expression and an artwork that I created to help other people get aligned with themselves. Just diving right into that 6 alignment. Thank you very much. Through performing, right? Sitting in the middle of the 10. Okay, let's go.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me tell our audience a little bit more about you, that you are a jester of the piece. You are a performance artist. You're an interactive keynote speaker. And as you mentioned, you are the founder of HumorVille, which is a tourist attraction for your heart. It's a small town themed immersive experience for self-expression and community connection, currently running in Brooklyn. Barbara, how did you get into doing that? What led you to create HumorVille?
That's what led me to create HumorVille, and where my artistic expression comes from are two conversations that sit on the same spot. So when I was a young girl, my mother took me to a program called Creative Theater Unlimited at McCarter Theater at Princeton University, because I grew up in New Jersey, which means I have sparkles in my soul for all my days. And so in that program, they would read us a story, and this is, imagine me at 9. So they took away the characters and the words and things about the theme that had been put upon the plot structure, and they left us with the plot structure. And then we as a class retold the story. We retold the plot structure with our own characters, our own costumes, our own themes, whatever we were going to bring to it. And it took me probably 30 years to realize that for the rest of my life, my artistic process is improvising on a structure, which is what I had been taught to do in that program. And and so as an improviser, as a clown theater artist, as a festival performer, as a wedding officiant, as a speaker, everything I've done is audience participatory. I've done probably every audience participatory kind of art that there is. I was a pediatric hospital clown. I used to give comedy tours of graveyards at night, which in Boston. I was an educator for a long time, teaching improv and clown theater to young people and older people. Wedding officiating, which is where I got the name Jester of the Piece, is the only theater job, well, one of the only theater jobs that you don't age out of. And so you can be as old as possible as a wedding officiant, and people are still like, oh my God, my wedding officiant, heart, heart, heart. While I was a wedding officiant, I leaned back into my street theater background, and I started marrying people to themselves in the street, and also acknowledging some of those other relationships. So there's no public ceremony for this is my best friend, and I want everyone to know. There's no public ceremony for this is my colleague who changed my life. There's no public ceremony for this person introduced me to that person who changed my life, and there's no way to acknowledge that person. And so I started creating these marry yourself jester of the piece ceremonies for the unacknowledged relationships that are super important to everyday life. That's where HumorVille started, because the next year it was an election year. And so I found myself going out in the street, voting people president of what they care about. So president of free food for kids, president of candy and naps, There was many parents saying to me, I am president of my own home. Really? I really am president of my own home. But president of peace, president of the earth, president of little girl saying I'm president of my dolly, whatever. And then the following year, I had a very dramatic breakup, like talk show worthy level drama. And so I needed to express my heart. So I collaborated with Shashama to make a post office so that everybody could do that. And then over the years, I just kept on making more parts of a town without realizing it, touring them. I've toured them all over the place, corporate, conference, community, cultural, academic, around the planet. And then I don't remember the day, but one day I was like, I have a post office and a library and a marriage bureau and holidays and a parade and a telephone company. It's a town. It's a town. It really surprised me. So now, spiritually, I believe that I've been given this town to serve with, and the purpose that HumorVille serves is the same purpose that Gesture of the Peace says. I kept the name Gesture of the Peace even after I stopped being a wedding officiant full time, because it means humor for humanity. And I distilled eventually, with help from a mentor, that the theme of my life is humor for humanity, using playfulness, finding laughter with the journey, not laughter as a distraction, but laughter as a realignment, because anything we can laugh with in life sets us free and we can help other people be free. And then when I look at these cards, like, oh yeah, I use humor to help people realign with themselves and each other so people can give their gifts to humanity.
Yes.
And I do that on stage. And that's the story of how this came to be. But sometimes people will ask me, well, how did you think of that? And the answer to that is I didn't think of that. My artistic process is that these visions, these concepts, these things to do, they just arrive within me. So I go out now, and it's not even go out now. It's reach for that frame over there and make a president sign and go outside and vote people president. And then I'm like, okay. In a way, I feel like I'm just doing what I'm told. Or I'm doing what arises. So it's the improvisation on the structure of my life.
I love it. I love it.
It feels so good. I feel like everybody needs this. Everybody. So
Thank
I
you.
need some.
Yeah, every artist needs to know that for sure, because that's the procrastination anxiety of like, I don't know what I'm doing the big picture. Well, just do one thing. Just start with one step.
So just for clarification, your HumorVille town is you going to do these things, like
She has an actual
it's
installation.
traveling.
was.
You're
Yeah.
traveling.
No, that's how it started. I started
Okay.
I got a grant to tour I Vote for You, which is, you can see it right there. That's I Vote for You. The president booth back there. I vote for you to
Fantastic.
be president of Card Science. Okay. I know you accept.
We accept.
I know. Congratulations. It started off me touring the projects because I hadn't realized that they go together. And so I took the post office project, which is called Love Letter Lounge, to a community center. And I took it to a corporate office, and I took it to a festival, a street festival, and I took it to a business conference. I've taken them all over. And then eventually, I do not know why I didn't see it, but eventually I realized that a town had been created. And a town is it's a specific entity. And then once I realized that it was a town, when you put it all together, I thought, well, this should be in a place. And so in a way, HumorVille's been open for 4 months, but it's also been open for 15 years. And I opened it in late, in September of 2025 for soft launches. And then I opened it in right before New Year's Eve of 2026 for the public. And it's really fun when the public comes, because it kicks up all my improv skills, and I have this wonderful opportunity. And here's more of that alignment that I see when we're talking about it. When people that I don't know come to HumorVille, which is what happens most of the time now, because I'm doing 8 shows a week, they come in, and my job is to have them feel incredibly comfortable instantaneously and leave feeling like friends. So I have 2 hours to help people feel connected to themselves, feel vitally alive, feel connected to each other, and want to hug when they leave. And that happens to be what I'm good at. And I'm sure you have insight as to why that is. I think I have I have mad, wild, instant best friend vibes. If you're sitting next to me on the plane It's like, tell me everything about yourself. And then by the end, it's like, you're such a great listener, you know,
Wow.
but it's always for a
So
purpose.
How
The
how
underlying
many
purpose of everything is for people to live more of their unlived life. Because when I think about people, whatever holds us back, can help free it. And so the purpose of everything is, can we live more of our unlived life? Which I also think is one of the purposes of why you do what you do with cards. Like, how can we
yes,
live our unlived life? We care about the same thing.
yes.
Yeah.
And just a quick clarification then for people listening, HumorVille is a place that you can visit, and it's in Brooklyn, and you get tickets. Is that what it is? You buy tickets to go visit?
Yes, yes. And if you go to Google Maps uh, and look up HumorVille, which is HumorVille, VILLE, I am celebrating that as of yesterday, I have 37 5-star reviews.
Fantastic.
But
Fantastic.
it's a new project. But one of the things about those reviews is that people are taking the time to say things that really matter. Things like, HumorVille helped restore my faith in humanity. People aren't going to say that unless they've gotten in touch with something that's vital about being themselves and championed others to do the same. And that's
Yes.
what this is really about. So artistically, I use playful. I'm a very serious artist, and I do serious things for a serious reason, but I use playfulness as a strategy because it's phenomenally faster and a lot more fun. And so people can laugh and cry and say really deep stuff and have big aha insights in here. Or if I'm taking the projects on tour, because I still do that, um, because it's safe, familiar, comfortable, friendly, and funny, and because it stays funny the whole time, the humor can hold the depth, and people can say really serious things without falling apart. It's like you say serious things, but it contributes to your joy, and so the joyfulness is way stronger than whatever pain might come through a person here. But this is a place where people are reaching for hope. It's not for the person who's at the bottom of the barrel. It's anybody who's reaching for hope can find it here.
Right. I'm
Wow.
so blown away. So how many people, I'm just
Thanks.
still so curious about it. I'm coming,
Yeah.
okay? So
Yeah.
so how many people do you have at a time? Is this for like
This is so
like
this the number of people in here is only dictated by the size of the space. This space is about 200 square feet
uh-huh.
ish, maybe a little more, maybe 250. This is a small space. And so right now it's 1 to 8. The fewer
Okay.
people who are here, the more VIP it is, because the more
Yes, of
attention
course.
anybody gets.
Sure.
I can probably do up to 12. I could do 14, but it would be really something. But there's an inherent intimacy. And one of the visions for HumorVille, the vision for HumorVille is that there's HumorVilles all over the place. That because it's in a way it's a community
Ooh.
center for humor and wellness. And so if there's community centers for humor and wellness, and I, because I'm an interfaith minister, ordain other gestures of the peace to work on a local HumorVille, then we've got a local person who understands the power of humor for community, which is laughing with each other versus at, and can stand for humor as a wellness tool for the community through a local HumorVille as a gesture of the peace in a united community. And then that's a movement. That's a movement for humor and wellness. Let's be really clear that I didn't invent humor and wellness. It's part of the human condition. I'm just reminding a modern audience or a modern population that if we don't have humor, we don't have wellness, because we're designed to release stress and reconnect and love each other through humor. And we just have to make sure it doesn't get stuck in the entertainment industry. Not that it doesn't belong there too, but it also belongs in everyday life all the time.
Well, it sounds like you're innately wonderful at doing it as well. So,
It's what I've been given to do.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and there's actually, because I'm an interfaith minister, there's a congregation that's also part of Humorville. It's called the House of Holy Humor. And I have gotten mad pushback on using the word holy, just like I got mad pushback in the wedding industry when I started calling myself Jester of the Peace, where people in the wedding industry would be like, you can't call yourself Jester of the Peace. That's not serious. This is a serious profession. And I'd be like, yeah, but there's all these people who are not served by this very serious profession because they need to express their creativity to feel authentic, which was my people. And
Yep.
so when I use the word holy on purpose, A, because it's House of Holy Humor and I like alliteration. But the other thing is that it creates this conversation because of humor, art, and love, which is the trifecta of things at the heart of the House of Holy Humor. People generally agree that love is sacred. Like, is love sacred? Even someone's an atheist, is love sacred? Yeah, okay. I don't even know what sacred is, but love is sacred. Art, is art sacred? Conversation piece, is humor sacred? And I maintain that anything that restores energy is
Absolutely.
life. If it
Yes.
brings good energy, it is life. So humor is life, art is life, love is life. And so I have the opportunity by using this word holy to have that conversation, which is what the conversation really is. Because if we can put something, if we can realign humor and art next to love as sacred human modalities of connection, because if we feel disconnected, I mean, part of a spiritual practice is to feel reconnected to oneself and all that is. And humor, art, and love are reliably doing that every time. So that's part of the ethos of the House of Holy Humor. But it's also I get to be the conversation starter about that. I mean, but it's an ancient conversation, so I'm like the conversation continuer.
It is so fun to listen to
It,
you.
it is. My energy is just like, oh, like a little kid.
Thank you, Ten of
You're like a
Clubs,
little kid.
for making sure that I have to use my thoughtfulness in order to serve by delivering the message. I often will say that if we're given a message and we don't deliver it, we're not upholding our part of the bargain of being alive. And because
Oh,
of the cards that I have, I'm especially one who is meant to deliver a message.
Yes.
And so I really enjoy doing that. But I've also embraced that because I don't know when I first came across you two. It's probably, I don't know, 7 years ago or something like that. Maybe more, maybe less. But I immediately gravitated towards it because I like frameworks a lot, because I'm playing mind-based cards. So I'm going to be liking those frameworks, and I also deliver a lot of frameworks.
mhm.
But I also like there's like a tender magic in it, and
Mm.
I like left brain, right brain things. If it's a framework and it's creative, that's improvisational comedy. I used to be vitally afraid of structure, like terrified of structure, until I realized improv comedy is a structure,
Yeah.
Mm.
and then I felt way better about the whole thing. And so now I can make plans and not need to be an improviser all the time.
Mm. Before we dive more into the cards that you're playing, I'm really
Yeah.
curious. Like, there's so many aspects to what you're talking about, to what you're doing, so many levels of it and aspects. What do you have a favorite part about what you're doing?
My favorite part of what I'm doing is meeting the moment. And that's like spoken like an improviser, spoken like a clown. I mean, clown theater, when I say clown, I'm not talking about birthday party balloon animals and face
Okay.
painting. Not that those two are that's art. Those are visual art forms. You can be a really amazing makeup artist, and you can be a really amazing
Yeah.
balloon artist. But there's also a theatrical art form underneath that called clown theater, which is about amplifying everything about humanity in order to have a cathartic release of laughter or tears, ideally both. And it's like, if we can laugh and cry in a clown show, we win. If people laugh and cry at HumorVille, it feels transformational. If we don't both laugh and cry in an experience, it won't feel transformational. Something could be only funny or only serious, but it's transformational when we touch more than one emotional state. And that's what HumorVille is for. And that's basically how I live my life. If I'm meeting the moment openly and applying my creativity, because every one of us is improvising every second of our entire life, so we're all creative. If I'm doing that and expressing myself authentically and having others do the same, I basically feel good. If I'm not expressing myself, or if I get stuck or squashed or put myself in an imbalanced situation, or let myself serve something that's not what I just said, which I've also done, because
Mhm.
I'm very human and have done many ridiculous, hurtful things to myself. And but that's also why we need humor. We need humor. Everyone needs it to laugh with the journey, because we've all done lots of ridiculous things.
Yep. Wow. Beautiful.
I'm taking it all in. I'm listening deeply to your profound reflection on the value and the nature of humor and what humor brings and how it is sacred and how it is transformational. I've never thought of it that way before, but it makes perfect sense. And as you know, in the source cards, the highest element is the jester. That's the pinnacle. That's the crown element, is the joker, the jester.
Do you believe
That
I
in
forgot that? I forgot that until you just said that.
Okay. You can see on the board behind us, for those of you who are watching us, not
Yeah.
listening, you can see that on the very pinnacle, that's the joker, the jester. That is the pinnacle of our matrix, of our structured human existence, is that we can laugh at ourselves and that we can enjoy the game. We don't take it too seriously. The cosmic giggle, it's all for fun. We laugh at our human folly, all of the above. And you're touching on that and you're naming that. So I really appreciate what you're saying.
I even named myself that. I got the name Jester of the Piece from someone I shared love with named Michael Coran, who passed away last year. And he said, "You are a wedding officiant and a clown. You should be the Jester of the Piece." And I said, "Ding." I will take that. Love you, Michael. I I really encourage everyone who's listening to this right now, at whatever time in space you're listening to it, to choose someone in your world that you love and spend some time asking them stories from their life that were hard then that are funny now. That's the library of, it's right there. That's the library of HumorVille.
Wow.
And so the invitation is, look for stories in your life that were challenging to you then that you can laugh with today. Not that the original thing is funny. And what that does is it has people meet each other in their resilience, and it's very empowering. So you see the journey that the person went on from the challenge into, I call it the humor condition. It's like you go from the human condition to the humor condition. And as soon as we can laugh with it, then we can help another person. We can help somebody else be free. And that's because when we're laughing with what was, we're in our strength. And if we're in our strength, someone else can catch hope from us. And that doesn't mean that every story in our lives will find humor, because a lot of it's going to be too soon. Some of it will be too soon all our lives. Some of it will be too soon for generations. But I maintain that everything that hurts wants to heal, and that life situations will reach for humor, and anything that we can laugh with as we live with it, anything we can laugh with will set us and others free if we share that. And so I encourage everyone listening to adopt that as a way to get to know people, because A, it's funny, and B, it's really meaningful, and it has a ripple effect, because then you find yourself telling other people's stories who aren't even in the room. Let me tell you about the time. Let me tell you about the time. Let me laugh with you about the time. And it's the difference between laughing with each other and laughing at each other. Laughing at each other is divisive, and laughing with each other is connective. And I am well aware that people can use humor to hurt each other. And so HumorVille is hyper positive. One of the funniest things that happens in here is that people come in and I say, you can only do it right at HumorVille. Founding principle of HumorVille, you can only do it right, get it right, say it right, think it right, feel it right, express it right. And then during the HumorVille experience, which is a 2-hour immersive experience, people mess up in their own mind. And I have to continually say, you can only do it right at HumorVille. You can only do it right at HumorVille. You can only do it right. And then by the end, I'll say, and then someone in the room will say, because you can only do it right at HumorVille. And they're like, we win. But that's also a real thing. Like, we've somehow been trained socially that making a mistake is bad, or that dropping something is a mistake.
Yes.
What is a mistake? Really? I mean, I think the whole mistake thing is up for some reconsideration.
That's right. That's, again, a profound spin on a classic, let's call it spiritual teaching, that everything happens for our highest and best good. That's kind of an expression that we choose to live by, that
Yes.
we've heard. It's the same as saying we can only get it right. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's always an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity. And I learned that from clown theater. And when I first started being a clown, I was horrible at it. I was so not funny because I was trying to get it right, because I was a smart kid.
Right.
And so I often talk about this in this way. Children are all judged on some scale. Some are judged on the sports scale. Some are judged on the beauty scale. Some are judged on the smart scale. Some are judged on the service scale. But children are judged, at least in this Western culture that I grew up in. And I happen to have been judged on the smart scale, which means if you have the answer, things are good. If you do not have the answer, things are bad. And so when I was learning how to be a clown, which is all about amplifying things that go wrong, as well as the deep beauty of the human condition, I just was really bad at it. And I was trying to think my way through it, which you can't do. And I was trying to make jokes about it, which I just flopped on the ground and cried. And my teacher, whose name was Julie Goel, who's passed away now, she just came and snuggled me, snuggled my little head. I was sobbing. It was just so embarrassing. Uh, but she was smiling at me and she was laughing and she thought I was adorable. And then it was like, wait, I don't have the answer. I've really messed everything up. I'm not funny. I don't like myself, but you like me anyway. And in fact, you like me more. It was like,
Wow.
and that was a life-changing experience that happened at the Celebration Barn in South Paris, Maine, which still exists, which is a school for physical theater started by Tony Montanaro. And from that moment, I don't know who I would be without that experience. It's like there are some people, like I don't know who I would be without my grandmother Julia, who listened to me in a way nobody else in my world could. To like you can be listened to, you can be loved and appreciated and celebrated when you fail. Like who would I be without that moment? I don't know. I'm probably more tightly wound, but clown theater is a spiritual practice for me because it's a practice of reconnection.
You know, it's also just really beautiful that you had that awareness in those moments to take a beat and know, oh wait, I can receive this right now. You know, because
Yes.
somebody could do that and still be like, I'm not good. I'm bad, you know, and not at all take that in and receive that from the person. So, you know, good for you for acknowledging that
Yeah.
and taking it in.
I love that you're saying that. When I talk when I give the library project as an interactive talk, um, someone may be telling a story like, what if I decided I think I was 25 at the time when that happened, the clown theater thing. What if I decided what if I couldn't take in Julia's message and I decided never to get on stage again? Because people have decided that. There are people right now who are not on stage who want to be, or maybe whose cards are even telling them to be, who won't let themselves do it because something hurt and they can't find any freedom. But laughing with those situations and also studying clown theater and improv, it just makes the whole thing faster. We just learn to find the funny or find the light or find the open door or try again instantaneously. It's a phenomenal life skill, whether or not anybody has any plans to do it professionally. It's really like training for the human condition, training to ride the ride of the human condition with love and freedom.
100%. And I love what you're saying. I feel like we could just turn it over to you and let you share your wisdom for a long time. And you are born to play the six of
That's what I'm
clubs.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I'm like, forget, like, we don't even need to talk about any cards. Like, just go
No,
for
come on,
it.
let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. What do you?
Well,
Let's
that's what I
go
want to
into
do.
it.
I do want to break it down a little bit in that you are born to play the six of clubs. The clubs, as you mentioned, is the mind, and the six is two straight lines. And it's this idea of being a channel of knowledge, where the downside would be taking yourself too seriously or being too rigid. And you've found your way intuitively to that mental flexibility, which humor provides, which is the key for the six of clubs energy, is to have that flexibility of mind, which is what allows you to be intuitive. And as you know, you have the Queen of Clubs as the Pluto card in your life path. And the Pluto card is the hidden fears. And the Queen of Clubs is the psychic ability. The biggest thing for people born to play the six of clubs is learning how to trust their psychic intuitive abilities. And in listening to your story, you're even saying, I feel like I'm just doing what I was told, that you're receiving guidance psychically, intuitively, and you don't fully comprehend it, but you're willing to take action on it. And that's what's made all the difference. I want to point that out. That's you playing your cards right.
Oh, yay! Yeah, that is really good news. I also will tell you that HumorVille is getting more and more psychic by the minute, especially in the post office. this last week. So there's a letters to strangers. So people who come in write a letter that a future, I call everyone citizens who comes here. You're a HumorVille citizen when you're experiencing it. So citizens write letters for citizens to receive in the future. This week, a gentleman came in who is a journalist, and he arrived here in January, February, sometime in the last couple of days of 2026. And he received a letter that had been written on September 28th of 2025. And that letter was entirely about the role of journalists to realign society. There's probably one letter here in the HumorVille post office written about journalists, and he got it on the first try. He reached in there. He said, "No, I'm just gonna read this one. This is the one. I'm just gonna sit down with it." He reads it. It's only about how journalists are going to help humanity find its bearing again, and that is normal. What I've been saying is, I feel like the powers that be are loving people through HumorVille, and I'm the steward of it.
That's fantastic. And I would add to what you're saying that because you followed the guidance and you listened and you took action, that puts the synchronicity in play where the perfect alignment unfolds. Again, 6 of clubs, as you know, it's all about alignment. You're here to bring alignment. And by trusting the intuition versus rational, analytical, logical thinking, which actually doesn't work to put you in alignment, by trusting that intuitive guidance, that's the outcome, is this synchronicity that you're talking about.
Yeah, and let's also talk about at the end of last year, Alexander, you and I had a conversation where you said, and I said to you, "I have moved 25 times in 30 years." And you said, "Girl, you gotta sit down." I mean, you didn't say it that way, but that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
You were like, "You need to stop moving all the time." And I love going on tour. I have mad, passionate travel vibes. I love being on tour. And I do believe that I'm also meant to do that, because I do believe HumorVille is an international project, and I love meeting other humans and knowing my planet. However, because we had that conversation, I have been traveling significantly less, doing 8 shows a week at HumorVille. And for the first time in my life, I'm starting to feel at home somewhere, which is not something I've ever really, truly felt. It's not that I didn't have love in the places that I've lived, but it's different to be the artist in residence here at Razor Studios, surrounded by my own artwork. I live in this building. It's not that common for artists in residence to actually reside in the place. So I live where HumorVille is, which is why at the beginning of the show I say population 1. Which, and then we add more citizens. We had more citizens through the show. But there's something about allowing myself to learn about the yoga studio and the restaurants in my neighborhood, about having neighbors that I can call on to move my couch, which happened recently. It's this feeling of homeness is something that I am discovering, and it's showing itself to me. And my willingness to do that came out of the conversation that we had when we were looking at this year to come, where you were talking to me about learning new things about love this year, which I've absolutely also been doing in a kind of, wow, what, really, kind of a way, which is what you suggested that I could look for. But then also, what is it to be in a place? It's like it's all a little bit different than I thought, because I only thought that it maybe wasn't a good idea to be in a place. But it turns out to be a good idea to be in a place.
It feels very reflective of your personality card, the 10 of clubs. For those listening, if you want to pull out a deck of cards, you can see the pip pattern of the 10. Clubs, again, represent the mind. And then this 10, like finding that empty space in the center. I feel like that's what we're talking about, like that stillness, the home inside, this stillness. And, going, you can double cross yourself, overextend yourself, and there it is in the pip pattern with those 2 X's. So it's really finding that space in yourself and that stillness. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that as much as I was afraid of structures because I thought that they would oppress me, I think I was also afraid to be in a place out of fear that it would oppress me. But it's not. That's not what it's like. It's like I have so much opportunity to serve people from here
Yeah.
and find new definitions of what fulfillment is through doing that. And that doesn't preclude continuing to tour because
No,
I
not at
also
all.
love doing that. It's just it's like it's a both and.
It is. It is, and it's what is the underlying motivation for touring? And if you've already found that space within yourself and found that place called home, then touring is different.
Yeah. Yes. The motivation for touring is wanting to know my planet. It feels really weird that I don't know people everywhere. And
Mm,
that could be just wanting to map out the human and humor condition of the planet. Uh, but it's also learning from other cultures
mhm.
and learning from other people and sharing what I know and creating international relationships for peace. Because Gesture of the Peace is humor for humanity, and I feel driven to create peace through fun. And I also have to say that there's been a bunch of permission giving that I've had to give myself as I continue to look at these cards over and over and over and over again. And I, like probably some other people who are listening to this right now, uh, have the special book and find really sneaky ways to find out people's birthdays so I can run home and look them up. All manner of ways to find, yes, that very book right there.
Play your cards right, a sacred
Yeah,
vow.
yeah. But
I love it.
I have developed ways to find out what someone's birthday is in a normal conversation without them realizing it. Uh,
You guess? Do you also guess their cards?
no, no,
No,
not yet. But I think that would probably that's probably next level.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's our
Uh,
game.
it's
but there,
coming.
yeah, that's coming. But there's something about uh, me feeling that peace is global, especially because we live in a world that's digitally connected, and so it really is. And a lot of the people that I know don't even live in New York City, where I live. Uh, there's something about global unification through peaceful play, and I've had to give myself a lot of permission to be like, no, the more outrageous you are, the better it is because there's also plenty of messages to not do that. Just like, don't be the gesture of the peace. That's not professional in the wedding industry. But what I'm really absorbing is that the more fun I have, the better I do for others.
Mm.
And and sometimes I have to stand for that because sometimes it looks like I'm a goofy person, but I'm really a serious person. I just have been given goofiness as a path. And I don't mean goofy in a frivolous way either. I just mean like I've been given playfulness as a path and how to continue to give myself more permission to live that out as fully as possible. Who are the permission bringers in my world? Like who in my world does more of me come out and not less? How do I continue to be around people who understand how serious it is for me to play for a living? Uh, how do I make sure that that's my inner circle? That's a question I'm living with right now.
That's so beautiful. And again, I would say that's an expression of your 10 of clubs personality,
Mhm.
where the 10 is the one who wants to shine in the spotlight, be on stage, you be very entertaining, clubs with the mind, verbally, with wit, with humor, that you have that capacity to shine that light. And who gets to say what that looks like other than you? And that's the
Yeah.
grand permission slip that you get to give yourself playing that 10 of clubs personality.
Yeah, and it requires buddies. It's not, I mean, I can be self-authoring and I mean, I'm an only child. I can do a lot of stuff by myself. I learn how to entertain myself, learn how to talk to myself, learn how to think my own thoughts. However, there's still sometimes I still can find myself holding back sometimes because that's too wacky or that's too bold or that's too or what if people don't understand? And some that can slip in sometimes. And I'm continuously looking for buddies and ways and strategies and frameworks and like whatever is necessary for me to be able to override that particular voice. Because as much as I've done, I still feel like I have just done a fraction of what is mine to do.
Hmm. Well, you're definitely on a mission with that six of clubs as your birth card. And even here, to take that mission playfully, maybe you're saying that already, but I'm also hearing like there's I got to get more done in there. And even at that meta level of observing your own mission is to be playful and light with that.
Yeah, and probably just return to doing what I'm told. I mean, from a spiritual perspective,
From a
it's like just
spiritual
follow
perspective.
the energies, go where it goes.
I mean,
People will
you've created
come.
something amazing with HumorVille. I can see it really blowing up. I can see it becoming a corporate team building mecca destination.
Yes, yes, and also, and I'm also collaborating with wellness organizations to bring people who are on a healing journey here. And then there's also the school educational and helping other people learn how to hold transformational space with humor. Families come here. It's really interesting when a family comes here because you get to see. So far, it's been teenagers and parents. Um, you get to see them relate to each other as humans a little bit outside of their parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
and you let to and they get to hear each other on the level of humanity, and that has a ripple effect in how they hold and see each other.
Yes. You've got so many witty aphorisms. Hear each other on the level of their humanity. I like that one. There have been so many throughout this episode already that I'm listening to.
Yeah, I have completely embraced that one of the things that's mine to do is take complicated things and make them into simple statements that are resonant. That's one of the things that I've been given to do, and I just run with it. Sometimes I open my mouth, I say something that I've never thought before, I close my mouth, I say to the person who received it, "That was for you." And that's that intuition thing that you were talking about before. I've got when people come to Humorville, I say, "Whoever needs to be here is here, whatever needs to be said will be said." And that often creates a little exhale when people arrive because I believe it so fully that people can believe it with me, and then it changes how people express themselves here.
That's really beautiful. I want to shift gears a little bit and get into some of the other side of things. And I imagine that your journey with the, let's call them the more negative or more challenging aspects of your
Mm.
cards, I imagine your way of finding resolution will also be helpful for listeners. So I
Yes.
want to ask you, one of the things you're talking about with that six of clubs, that ability to spit nuggets out, that all of a sudden it just comes out and you weren't even necessarily preparing to say it. On the downside, it can mean that you speak truths that people aren't ready to hear
Mm.
and it can backfire. Has that happened for you and how have you navigated that?
Absolutely. I am a full human being. I have sometimes I give people advice I didn't ask for. Sometimes I find myself telling people who they are, which is just
Wow.
which is just like super arrogant on my part, I have to say. I mean, that doesn't it isn't, right? Like sometimes I can see things. And the other way that this has played out is that I can see potential in people that may or may not ever get born out.
Mm,
And then I can start to relate to someone like a version of themselves that isn't living in current reality because I can see what's possible, and that can create problems because then I can want them to catch up to the reality to what I see as possible, but I have to also accept that people are who they are, and just because I see something doesn't mean that it's true, and it doesn't mean that they could be that. I've had to let go of that over and over and over again. And then sometimes when people exit our lives, it's like, well, do I miss the person or do I miss the dream of the person? And it's often that I miss the
No.
dream of the person more than the actual person. And
ouch.
that's because I got attached to who they could be,
They could-
and who am I to do that really? But I also have gotten attached to who I could be, and I've held myself to a very high standard sometimes that has me not listening and stressed out or over what I haven't accomplished yet, and think that I'm failing when I'm not. I'm not failing. I'm living, and I also have to shake it up a little bit and give myself more leeway. Um, yeah, I've sometimes said very biting things. We all every human being on earth has said things that we're not proud of. I have also done that. I uh, sometimes I've apologized and sometimes I haven't. because so there's a part of me that also wants to be right.
Right.
But then I have
Yeah.
to be like, okay, you know what? I don't remember whoever said this, but you can be right or you can be alive. But I do less of that now.
Well, that's what I want to get at. Like,
I do less of that now.
have
I
you
actually do a lot less of that now. I mean,
that's the part I want to let me just jump in.
yeah,
That's the part
yeah.
I want to ask you about. What has been the difference for you in noticing where you might have in the past said things that were either biting or unsolicited advice, or the person wasn't ready to hear it? What's the difference then to now of how you navigate that?
Right now, I'm more focused on what I think a person could be, and I'm more focused on who they're telling me they want to be. HumorVille is deeply aspirational. You come in and you get a passport to something you want more of in your life. So if someone comes in and they want more peace, or they want more love, or they want more money, or they want more time, those are some of the most common ones, or they want more travel, or they want more space, or whatever they want. And so I've learned to relate to people and help amplify what they say they want versus what I think that they should be doing.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
That's one of them. But I also have much more self compassion. The more compassionate I am to myself, the way easier it is to be compassionate to other people. And I don't, and also it's living on the earth longer. I've lived on the earth enough decades that I don't get, I don't get spun around. Somebody told me, uh, Vicky, you might find this interesting too. Women started telling me when after you turn 50, you're just not going to give a XYZ, like whatever word you want to put in there. Like, you're just not. You're just going to be yourself and everyone else is going to be themselves. You're just going to let go. And I just didn't understand that that was really true until it started happening to me. And then it was like, oh, you know what? I actually don't give an XYZ or an ABC or a 1, 2, 3 really about that at all. And, and, and I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to live my life and do my thing. And whoever I'm the messenger for, great. If I'm not the messenger for somebody, great. And some of it's
Mm.
actually just living long enough to have that particular phenomena unfold. And now I've started being the woman who's like, you know what? When you after you get to a certain moment in life, you're not going to give pots
No,
and
you're
pans
not
anymore
gonna
about
give a
this.
shit.
It's like, shut the front door. You're just not going to, it's like all the things that we can. And now I think it's funny. Like, now I think that all of that hyper reactivity that I used to have to dance with, that it's not that I don't get reactive anymore. It's just that I can catch myself in the act and be like, I'm being reactive right now. I'm going to stop. I don't get, I, it's not that I never lose my marbles because I'm
Sure.
still human, but it ends much quicker and I can catch it. I can also catch it happening.
Mhm.
And part of that's experience. Part of it's self-compassion, part of it's having lived through enough
Yeah.
heartbreaks and recoveries that I know that I'll make it, even if I have a doubt. But I'm not gonna say that it's only life experience, because it's also choosing to surround myself with people who are visionary. And it took me a while to realize that sometimes my inner circle and my clients aren't the same people, because part of what I do is help people who need alignment.
Right.
But my inner circle is people who are maintaining their alignment. And because I've specifically put myself around people who are visionary thinkers, who have deep hearts, who believe in me, I believe in them, I feel supported and surrounded by that energy, that also helps me stay in the light, basically. Because I'm not tempted. I I am not tempted to lose my marbles. It used to be very tempting to do that. Drama is real.
Mm.
I have a long background as an actor,
Yeah.
but I'm not interested in it. I'm interested in being of service to humanity. And part of that is making peace with myself and being like, okay. But I also think that being in this place and doing Humorville 8 times a week is grounding. And I'm not, I mean, yeah, I'm reaching for things, but I'm not trying to, how can I say it? I'm not trying to climb up the ladder. I'm just I just am. And I
You're meeting the
and
moment.
then yeah, I'm meeting the moment. And then because I'm not trying to climb the ladder, which is a very New York City thing to do, right?
Right.
It's more like I'm here to serve who I'm here to serve. And if I just do that, then I end up climbing the ladder anyway, but I'm not efforting to climb the ladder, which
Mm.
I used to think that I needed to be somewhere else in order to be something else, but I don't believe that anymore.
Yes.
I just need to be here and be myself, and then good things happen. I will a funny way to do an example of that. When I go to networking events, I used to walk up to people and be like, because I can be really gregarious, like, "Hi, let's." No, I don't do that anymore. Now, when I go to networking events, I sit on the couch and wait for people to come to me.
Oh, interesting.
That's the 10 of clubs playing it better. The 10 of clubs is about receiving rather than chasing.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot about that. I mean, I've definitely had experiences where I thought, I am just bananas right now. The thing I'm thinking, the thing I'm doing, why am I doing this? Why would I do things that are hurtful to myself and others? This
Mm.
is, but what I've come down to, I said this last week, it really amused me. I was talking to somebody about why I wasn't city biking on a snowy day in New York City. I said, well, I'm crazy, but I'm not nuts. And then I thought, yeah, that's right. I am crazy, but I'm not nuts. And that's kind of what it comes down to, because I have to play in expansive energies in order to do what's mine to do, but I'm
Mm.
not nuts.
Yes.
But
Wow.
I was, but I'm not anymore.
Wow. I feel like you are just illuminating a whole new meaning of the Six of Clubs for me.
Thank you.
Really, I'm not kidding. And as we've said, we have a life path of cards, and we have cards that we're playing, global cards that are in play every day. We have personal daily cards. So at some point in the listeners, in your lives, you're going to come across Six of Clubs energy. So I feel like this is just a fabulous sharing and teaching for people in this Six of Clubs energy. It's really beautiful. The Six of Clubs is my final destination in my life path. It's my 13th card in my life path. So I'm learning as I am in my journey, and I'm growing and getting older. I'm, moving towards stepping into the energy and the power, being empowered in the Six of Clubs. That is, I mean, this is just, I never really felt the Six of Clubs in this way. I just, and it's just giving new meaning for me. So I'm feeling incredibly grateful for this conversation, and to know more deeply what it is to experience these energy patterns, and how to play them, and how to play them really well, and how to overcome challenges. So thank you.
That really means a lot to me, Vicky. It
Yeah,
really does.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just the playful energy, the humor, like the flexibility in that six. I've always felt it, like it's about lining up thoughts, being the peacemaker, but I've always just thought about it as lining up thoughts, like not like, I mean, it's really, this conversation is just expanding my mind so much. So, yeah,
Come to
wonderful.
Humorville.
I will.
Yeah, I'd love to come
Let's
to
do it.
Humorville.
Come to Humorville. Yeah. Come to Humorville and explore alignment and see what happens.
Well, and it's about finding alignment in different ways and finding it in our own ways rather than, as you said, imposing it. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that distinction you
Yes.
said
Yeah.
about you've learned to, rather than try to force people into your vision of them, to amplify their own vision for themselves, to guide them into finding their own alignment for themselves. Sounds like that's what you're doing at Humorville.
Yes, and it's right, and that's what I've found as a way to help people live their gifts and do what they're here to do. Because what's more, I have often said that if we're not spending, and maybe this is a very 610 of clubs thing to say, you can let me know. Um, uh, if we're not spending, if as a world we're not spending the majority of our time helping people figure out what their gifts are to humanity and give them, what in the world are we doing?
Mm.
That's
I,
what it
I'm,
comes.
I'm right there with you. I mean, here we are.
Here we are. Here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I really enjoy following the cards with you two.
Mm.
I look at them just about every day, and different ones. Right now, I'm following my personal cards because when we had that conversation, Alexander, you were like, you really need to, it's like, if it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no. And you got to really look at your self-determination. So I've only been looking for this brief period of time at my own card of the day. So I can be like, I'm starting with my self-determination. But I find it, the game of it is important to me.
Mm.
And as you two talk about it, you continuously refer to it as a game, and that helps me. It helps me lighten up about it, and also look for. And I like guidance. I mean, I'm here to be a guide, but guides need guidance.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
And I'm when we're all connected anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm just, this is my, like, I just want to make my shiny spot shinier, knowing that it's connected to everybody else's.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I
because
like the,
everybody-
I like the global unification aspect of, these are the cards.
Yeah.
This is it.
And I will tell you that every once in a while, when I'm at an event, I will talk about the cards. And I was at a satellite event at Art Basel in Miami. I was at a fashion show at Art Basel in Miami, and I just happened to be sitting next to this wonderful young woman, and we started talking, and she was like, "How do you say the things you say?" And I said, "Well, it's these cards. Let's look at yours." And we looked at hers sitting on it was at a break in the fashion show. And we went to the website. And I was like, "Look, these are yours." And she said, "What? That's so accurate." And then she said, "What about my boyfriend?" I was like, "Here's your boyfriend." And she said, "What?" And then it was just really hilarious. So I do that.
great.
I do that sometimes.
That's great. Yeah, thank
And
you.
it's
That's fantastic.
fun. But
It
it's
is
also
fun.
like, I think one of the things I'm here to do is be like, "Ooh, here's a surprise." Ooh. And that's a way of doing that for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's so great. So one last question for you.
Yep.
If you could have a ginormous billboard
Oh,
that millions or billions of people could see, what would it say and why?
Something like, love each other, play, be grateful for the miracle of life.
Love each other, play, be grateful for the miracle.
Something like that. Because I've really been wowed by existence recently.
Mm.
Just snow exists. Really? I mean, I've been
I
wowed
understand
by
that.
I've been
Yeah.
wowed by just existence itself. But love each other is what is necessary, and which includes loving ourselves. Playfulness, I believe life is meant to be a celebration, and that's not a distracting statement. I don't believe that life is a celebration at the expense of focusing on serious things. I believe that life is a celebration because it's phenomenal and miraculous, and anything that we can do to have more people be able to celebrate being alive, I mean, that's the gratitude for existence and the appreciation for existence. And so I'm just traveling in the gratitude of existence, wanting to be of service to other people, celebrating it together. And then that goes back to gesture of the peace, which is humor for humanity and playfulness for peace. So that.
That is beautiful. Round of applause.
Bravo.
Barbara, where can people find more
Oh.
about you and what you're up to?
Yeah. So gestureofthepeace.com is a good place, which is JESTER of the PEACE. That is my website, which links to all things. It links to the talks that I give and HumorVille and the history of the different projects that make up HumorVille, and also my history as an artist and my calendar. The majority of the reviews for HumorVille are on Google Maps, which is HumorVille, HumorVille. And if you just look that up, there's only one right now as of this recording. However, there'll be more. Those are two good places. And then in most socials, Gesture of the Peace is my handle in most socials, like Instagram and other places like that. And I
Great.
interestingly, I'm in a time right now where I'm willing to be newly seen online. There was quite a while where I held back from that, but times are changing. And so I'm willing to deliver the message there too. And so it's good to go to those places for more information because there's more coming.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's
It's
been a total
been
pleasure.
such a pleasure. Amazing for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the work. I've been journeying with you too for a number of years, and will continue to do so. It's just it helps me. It helps me play, and it also helps me get real.
Hmm. Yeah, both and.
So thank you both for doing what's yours to do, and for doing it with each other, which is also inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you got a high five. Well, I'll
High
give you one
five.
here. High 10.
Boom.
Oh, look at that. We got a high 15.
We did it. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom.
Yes.
This has been another exciting episode of Live from the Source. I'm Alexander.
And I'm Vicky.
And as always, we remind you to live your life like it's your favorite game to play.
Thanks,
See?
everybody.
Thank you.